Extremis begins with a group of insurgents breaking into a building. Marlon, one of the insurgents, injects himself with the Extremis serum. This serum makes him sick but transforms him into a superpowered being. Meanwhile, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, is dealing with who Iron Man is, what he resembles. Maya Hansen, an old friend of Tony Stark's, calls him after her boss kills himself. The Extremis dose is stolen. Tony helps Maya also go to visit another friend called Sal. Sal is a futurist and the three discuss many social elements and also how Iron Man's suit parallels drugs. Maya receives a call and learns that Marlon has used his powers and murdered several people. Tony Stark and Maya head back to Future Farm, where Tony as Iron Man is then deployed. Iron Man is easily defeated by Marlon, and Tony Stark decides to inject himself with the Extremis dose. He then goes to fight Marlon. Who will win the fight, Iron Man or Marlon? I absolutely love this book. It's one of my favourite books that I got from last year's Comic-Con. What I love about this book is what Warren Ellis does with the social aspects of Iron Man. Warren Ellis makes a very interesting case for capitalism and how commercial goods are sold. And he also highlights on many aspects of the future. And his take on capitalism is very, very true and very, very real. In this book, Warren Ellis highlights on the fact that a lot of that we live in a consumer world. Basically, everything is about consumer goods. It's about money. And that the government and military factions, particularly in America, and Warren Ellis is more highlighting on the American capitalism. And what he does in this book is he makes an interesting case for how different corporations and governments impact the growth of the future. And basically, anything that has ever come out is based on government or military funding. And that people don't actually have the freedom to pursue research. Everything is very dependent on that funding. And I found that very, very interesting. Just the social commentary that he makes is very, very fascinating. But I also found it interesting about how it parallels Tony Stark's mindset. We learn a lot about Tony Stark and his thought processes. Tony Stark is in this book, Tony Stark is presented as a futurist. And early on in this book, the idea about who is Iron Man, what does he stand for, all of these questions are asked in this book. And we learn a lot about how Tony Stark views himself, but also how he views Iron Man. We learn throughout the book that Iron Man actually resembles his thoughts on the future. Basically, he's trying to build a better society. He's trying to improve upon oneself. And also, with that, other people's lives. Tony Stark parallels on Mullen. Mullen's idea of the future is that the white folk, because Mullen is a terrorist, he basically feels that the white folk should be in control. That the evolution of the future should be at the hands of these government and should be in the hands of the people. And that I also really liked Maya Hansen and Sal. They're the new characters that are introduced in this book. And both play with Tony Stark in a very, very unique way. And I especially like the relationship that Maya Hansen has with Tony Stark. That they're really, really good friends. And unlike in Iron Man 3, where they were presented as more of a love interest, Maya Hansen is actually a really, really good friend to Tony. And you can sort of see their friendship in this book. And I really, really liked that. Is that Maya Hansen is actually one of the big problems that I have with Iron Man 3. And why I don't think that movie is very good. Because I absolutely love Iron Man Extremis. I think it's a really, really solid book. And if the movies had maybe used more of Extremis, well, they did. But I think if Iron Man had actually used the thoughts on capitalism and the commercial products, because that is really the point of the book, you would have had a very, very interesting movie. This book is easily the most accessible Iron Man book you're ever gonna find. The origins for Iron Man is updated, and it's very similar to the one found in Iron Man 1 and 3. So I think people who are coming in from the movies, you could pick this book up, and obviously there are a few changes, but you could pick this up if you were coming from the movies and easily be able to get into Iron Man. It's a very, very good place to start with Iron Man. And I think the updated origins and how this story works, I think it's a very, very good book for new readers. So, that's my review for Iron Man done. Sorry it's a bit lackluster. And stay tuned for more comic book reviews coming very soon. Bye.